the Foot Clan. This one is another steal. So not way too long ago, we did a BTS video here. I say we, I'm the only person here. I'm literally doing all the filming, all the editing, and everything. So, like, I don't know why I said we. Regardless, did this, but with turtles. Then, I'm back at the same Walmart. I'm roaming around, I'm getting stuff done, doing grocery shopping. When I go in the back towards the electronics, because I'm deciding that it would be cool to pick up Super Mario RPG. And all of a sudden, I come across this at $22. Sorry, camera was about to die. See? It's just me here. I'm the only one. Camera's about to die. I don't get a signal or anything from anybody. I just gotta look over and see that the little light's blinking and be like, oh, if I'd have missed that, it would have cut me off in the middle of what I was saying. All by myself here doing videos, but that's fine. This is kind of my hobby. That's the way it is. This, $22. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, is that right? I got to looking at it and I was like, it's a little beat up. It's got tape right here and everything like that, and you can tell that it's been sitting there for a long time, and like all this is kind of rough and everything. I mean, it's not in perfect condition. But at $22, and as an opener, right? Am I really complaining? These are foot soldiers based, as far as I can tell, on the video game. I'm guessing the foot soldiers that appear in the Nintendo game Part 2 and 3 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they look pretty solid. We're going to open them up. I mean, I guess I could go over the box a little bit. It's really not... There it is. There's the box. We're not going to get crazy about this. I'll just kind of show it to you. This is what it is. It is pretty cool for what it's worth. Open it up right here. There's this side, this side. It's pretty standard, decent packaging. And I'm more than fine with just like putting this, maybe this is for the Super Nintendo, actually, because now I'm seeing that foot soldier is very much like flying towards the screen, regardless of what game this is from, okay? Because now I'm running myself in circles. It's cool to have 4 foot soldiers, all different colors, sure, but 4 foot soldiers. That will be really cool for doing a couple of picks here and there and things like that with the Ninja Turtles. And since I am an opener in general, it did not bother me one bit that the box was torn up. For $22, I'm pretty sure that this is still sitting in the $100 range. Maybe I'm wrong, but it would not surprise me at all, because I've seen some other stuff by BST, and oftentimes these boxes are about $100. So I got mine for $22. Let's check out the foot soldiers. So they do come with a background that pretty much told me exactly what these guys are from. This is either, one, the original arcade game, or, which I'm guessing that's what it is by looking at the quality of the graphic, but it could also be the second Nintendo game, because that was a port of that. That's what these foot soldiers are specifically from. I did notice, and we're just going to take this blue one here to kind of go over it, because they're all, you can see, they're all the same kind of foot soldier. He's got okay movement in the abdomen, not anything that's going to be crazy. He's got the double joint elbow, but it only goes up to about here, enough to punch himself in the face if he really wanted to be fair. I like this. That's decent enough definition for what it needs to be. He has the double knee. He cannot kick himself in the butt. He can do a straight up like side kick, so we can get him on like a, you know, a side kick thing, or we can literally put his feet up and do stuff like this. We will be able to get decent poses out of him. This turns all the way around. He's got decent levels of articulation. Now, I will say, his feet were giving me troubles. When I was setting them all down, his feet, all of their feet were a problem. Blow dryer. You want to heat these guys up a little bit. And I had to heat them up. I had to push the heel in and then turn it to kind of pop it out and get it loose and get it moving and everything like that. Once I did that, as far as I could tell, I won't have any problems. This middle torso, I mean, it moves, but you're not going to get way too much out of it. And everything else is kind of what you expect. Say you will get a T-pose out of them and stuff like that. The one thing I was not expecting, however, the head, as far as I could tell, it does not look up. It will turn all the way around. It does not look down. It does not look up. The head is very much what it is, and then he falls on the floor, and that's what he is. But for what I want these guys to be, and also keep in mind, I found these guys at an absolute steal. I only paid $22 for them. At $22, with this background and a proper setup, I can get 1 or 2 pictures out of this that'll probably be pretty cool. And literally, that would be enough for me. And if I only got a couple of pictures out of these guys and then put them on the shelves, and then, just found things to do with them here and there, I would be 100% fine with that. Is this background great? It's gimmicky, it's fine, it'll work, but it does have its problems. I mean, realistically, you're looking at what is normally supposed to be the effect of kind of like a 3D plane, because somebody's supposed to be able to like stand here or stand here, and you're not going to get that kind of an effect. I think it would have actually made more sense, and I know the fire was like a thing in the original game, so I know why they did this, but I personally would probably cut this here and do focused in images with 1 or 2 of these guys, kind of focus the camera in to just this top layer and add a fire effect across the front of the picture or something like that. If I was going to use this like that, that's what I would do. I'm not super sold on this being an actual background that I will use. I'm just happy to have the foot soldier. I got blue. I got this kind of whitish guy right here. Maybe that's a gray color. Purple, orange. That's awesome. They come with different things. So they came with a lot of stuff. They have a ridiculous assortment of hands. So every single one of them got punching hands, posing hands, gripping hands. Like, it's nice. All of them got 3 sets of hands between them. So they got the posing hands, they got the gripping hands, they got the punching hands. Every single one of them. Nice. That means there's almost nothing that I can't do, like a multi-setup where I got a guy standing there with his gun and stuff like that. We have the spear that they came with. A lot of them came with katanas, which are nice. Each of them came with the standard laser gun of the Foot Clan that you get to see in like the original cartoon and whatnot. And that's pretty cool. They're all color-coded. This kunai, which is pretty sweet. And these like tonfa sticks, which is pretty cool. And these crazy-looking sai things. Oh, and 2 different throwing stars. They also came with 2 different throwing stars right here. That's not a bad assortment of stuff, if I'm being perfectly honest. Aside from their feet, I think these guys are going to do the absolute trick. When I was growing up, I remember I owned the Nintendo game first. I bought the first Nintendo game. Well, it was bought for me. You get the idea. And man, was that disappointing. Not that I hated the game necessarily. When I was a kid, it was too hard. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. And you guys can think whatever you want about the games that you played. That's your prerogative to remember things the way that you wanted and tell me that, oh, well, I beat that game. I can beat that game now. And to prove it to myself, me and my buddy, not way too long ago when we were replaying old Nintendo games, we did put that game in and we beat it. So it's not that the game is unbeatable. It's not the game is so hard that it can't be beat. But when I was a kid, it felt like it was too hard. Like, it just was not something that I had the patience or the skills to do at that time. I did like the game. I used to play it randomly. Then, I didn't get the second game. I played the second game, technically the first game, because the arcade. I played that at I played it at Showbiz Pizza, which later became Chuck E. Cheese's. But I played it at Showbiz Pizza, and I used to absolutely love that game. We would go, at the time I would play Raphael, and we would pump the token things into the machine, and it was like me, my dad, one of his friends. I remember we played through the whole game. We beat it. Beat the arcade game, and I remember feeling like so awesome about that. And it did not occur to me till much later just how many tokens and quarters and dollars it took to beat that game. The game was designed to take your money. So, like, I had a lot of fun with it, and I beat it. Then I got the third game for Nintendo, and I loved that third game. I think they called it the Manhattan Project. I'm pretty sure I still have it downstairs in my Nintendo collection. That would be an interesting video, is to go back through what video games I'm still holding on to as to where I am right now after getting rid of so many of them. I don't know. It still fits the criteria of what I'm doing. I basically talk about my collection, the things I collect, and why I collect them. That might be an interesting video to do, like, full collections of, like, what I currently still have for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, so on and so forth. That might be a good video. But moving on, I remember the third game. I loved the third game. After I got the third game, I pretty much never, ever played the first. And I didn't get the second Nintendo game until years later, until I was basically already all the way grown up, buying my own stuff, doing my own thing. Because then I bought it from a comic store, probably for more money than it was worth, if I'm being honest with myself, and probably for more money than it was worth. Brought that home and played that and thought it was just one of the coolest games ever. But I still actually, and maybe it's a nostalgia thing because I grew up with Part 3, I think for the Nintendo trilogy, the third game, personally, is the one that I like the most. I think it's the best. But this is awesome. I am curious of one thing that I did not check. What is the scale of these? Will they look bad sitting next to the BST turtles? Well, if you're looking over there, that is about what they come out to. They are a little shorter than the Ninja Turtles. That's my Donatello standing there in front of them, and he was from the other video where I already collected the Ninja Turtles, and there's a whole video on that if you want to hear some of my talk about that stuff. But, yeah. I think it'll work. I think they're a little bit of a forced perspective because it seems like, well, Donatello is the tallest, so maybe there's an argument to be made there. But I think that's okay because the foot soldiers that have specifically been bought here were like little robots. So since they are little robots and they're not ninjas, they can all be like little robots that are only about maybe like 5 feet tall or something like that, just to make the argument. And then I think they will do fine for photography purposes and stuff like that. And you can kind of force perspective with them anyway. So if I put the turtles back there and then kind of like bring the foot soldiers out into the front, and then they would, by force perspective, they would be kind of bigger. The turtles would be in the back. And then if I expanded this background or something like that, I think it could be done. I think you could do some good shots with these guys. I don't think they're as hindering as they feel, because they do look kind of small, but I think it'll be okay. The other possibility is I can match these foot soldiers up with other lines of the turtles, so I can have them fight the original TMNT, or I can have like the original 80s toys, or I can have them fight against the 2013 turtles. I have those toys, and those are smaller toys in general. They're smaller than the other ones from this line. So I think that'll work. And then there's always the argument to be had that if I absolutely had to have perfect stand-in pictures, I could maybe go back and get some of the more cartoonish turtles or the video game release turtles that came out for this line specifically, and maybe those do much better pictures. But I don't want to dive into another Turtles line. I have enough. Like, I'm basically at a point where, like I said, and we talked about this in a recent video, I think it was like the last video actually, when we talked about Ramraff. I have a very hard rule about not diving headfirst into turtle collections because I'll get myself in trouble. So I'm gonna phase out the possibility of that altogether, because the only BST turtles that I'm constantly running after now is I did pick up the Shredder, I have Jenica on order, and if those turn out to be fantastic figures, which I imagine they will be because these are really good, I might double dip this line and buy the color versions, because these are very stylized and I wanted them specifically because they were stylized and I thought that would be really cool for some pictures. But Jenica will be a color version, and it doesn't seem like they're releasing this Sin City look for her. That would be great. That's the one I would have bought, and then I would have just kept to my scale on the shelf and just had them be really cool, neat, kind of just neat, different turtles. But because that doesn't seem to be the case, I might double dip into this line, buy the same figures again, but the ones that are in single packs and colors. That is not a guarantee, though. There's so much stuff out there that I want. That's the reason I set hard rules for myself. Because, truth be told, collecting is something that can get you in a lot of trouble if you're not watching what you're doing. And we can't possibly have everything. It cannot happen. I don't know about you guys. I only make what I make. And as this is becoming a staple of the channel, $20 spent there is $20 I can't spend there. That is a real problem. It is a real world problem. I don't have infinite funds. I'm nowhere close to infinite funds. So I have to watch what I'm doing. And in so doing that, it's probably a bad idea to double dip when there's still so much Motu and everything else that I'm interested in and stuff on the horizon that's still coming up. It is what it is. We'll figure it out as we go. That's this whole channel, guys. It's collecting, it's talking about fandom, it's talking about the fandom stuff that comes up in my memories because I'm collecting, the problems that occur from said collecting, the space that we have to collect. It's topics like that that make me do this channel. And as long as we keep talking about that kind of stuff, this channel will just keep a-rolling and a-rolling and a-rolling. Anyways, Foot Soldiers added to the shelf. Hope you enjoyed it. Later on. Oh, and check online. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe, because the last time I talked about those turtles, those were still actually on Walmart.com for like reduced prices. I have no idea about these Foot Soldiers, so I'm not telling you that you'll find them, but I just bought mine for 22 bucks. That's a great deal. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.